Some people love a to-do list. I do not like a to-do list. When I have a long list of things I have to do, I totally freeze up. I do not know what to do first, and I struggle to know how to prioritize the things and get all the things done. But we live in a world, in a time, in our personal lives, in our professional lives, where the work has to get done. And so I have had to figure it out. So today I'm going to share with you how in 2024 I grew to be more productive. So here we go. Let's jump in. Hey there, leaders. Welcome to the Culture Keepers podcast. My name is Kara List, and I'm your leadership coach. And here on the podcast, we discuss topics that empower you as leaders to cultivate thriving and connected workplace cultures, how to feel confident in your leadership, how to lead well. We talk about it all, but today we're specifically talking about productivity, kind of in light of making priorities, how you prioritize your work and how you work to get it done. And when I say how you do it, what I'm sharing is really how I have struggled and what I have learned this year. So if you have come to this podcast to look for all these beautifully proven methods on productivity, I could recommend some good books. I'm just going to share with you today what I have done, what I have learned, and how I have grown in productivity. But before we jump into my 4 little secrets, I want to ask you about how you are prioritizing intentionally connecting with your people. And it might look like one-on-one meetings or feedback systems or all these things, but on the casual day-to-day, how do you at the end of the day walk away feeling confident that you prioritized your people being valued, seen, and heard? And if you don't have a clear answer to that, you are not alone. It is the end of a calendar year. It is some crazy times, right? Holiday season comes in. You have end of year things that you're trying to wrap up. You're trying to do performance evaluations. There's so much that happens at work. And then there's holiday parties and all of these things in your personal life. And it is a crazy time. And I know that in this season, you are a kind of leader who really wants to show gratitude even more, right? It's the season of gratitude, right? Of being thankful for what we have and being thankful for each other and showing that intentionally. And I know you don't want to lose track of helping your people know for a fact that you see them and you value them. So that is why I created this 10-day connection challenge. And I mean, you could do it over the course of 10 days. It's really just 10 simple prompts that you could use in a one-on-one meeting or in an email or when you're passing in the hallway, just a way that you can have a connection point and you don't have to think ahead. It's already there for you. So it's just 10 prompts. You can choose to use 10 of them in one day, or you could just choose to say, I'm going to focus on this one today and do it over the course of 10 days. It is a simple PDF. So go ahead and grab it. You can go to www.heycaralist/10 days, 10 days, or go ahead and grab the link in the show notes. So a lot happened in 2024 for me. I moved across the country. I was a lifelong East Coaster, and now I am a resident of Central Oregon on the West Coast. So that was a huge thing. Left lots of friends and people and work and networks and came here. I launched my coaching business this year, which was a big deal. I started a new endeavor, which is homeschooling my children. Big endeavor. And naturally, with a move, we started to build community with the people around us. And the reason we moved to the West Coast was actually for my husband's job. He took a position here in Central Oregon at a church. And church life is super important to us. So we're involved and I'm involved in all sorts of different ways. So as you can tell, that list in and of itself was a lot to get done this year. And it's really a lot to get done on a day-to-day basis between shuffling, educating my kids, getting them here and there to different co-ops and activities and doctor's appointments and just like general mom life. And then running a coaching business, being involved in a community and a church and the activities that come with that. And then there's like, oh yeah, I have a husband and I really like him and I want to hang out with him. And I have kids that are really cool and I want to hang out with them. Oh, and also my house and the laundry and all just the responsibilities, the food we should eat. We should get food from the grocery store. This is not a life that is different from yours, right? We are all juggling a million different things and we have to get it done. So this year, I really had to work at it. I had to work at what are my priorities and how do I decide what those are and give them the space so that I can feel productive? Because I don't know about you, but that is like the worst feeling for me when I don't feel like I've been productive. I'm an achiever by nature. I want to get things done. But here's a twist. So if you listened back to my Working Genius podcast, I will link it in the show notes. Definitely go back and listen to it. One of my working frustrations is tenacity. So that doesn't mean that I don't like to get things done. It's just that it frustrates me to have a long list of things that I have to get done. I would much rather with my time sit and like invent and dream of things to do, and get people excited about it. That's why I have a podcast, because I love coming up with ideas of what we're going to talk about and galvanizing you around those ideas. This is like me thriving in my Working Genius. What I don't like to do is the long list of things that have to come after I end this recording. There are a lot of just really administrative things that have to get done, right? I have to make a thumbnail. I have to make a description. I have to put it into a blog post. And I have to do all these links, like these administrative tasks. And that stuff just bums me out. It just drains me. It's like soul sucking. And so even though I do it every week and I have to get it done, I have to force myself to do it. Now, there are other people who they get like a list of tasks and they thrive. They're like, challenge accepted. And they get real joy from crossing off the to-do list. I'm a Working Genius certified coach. And so I do this test with lots of teams. And I always know before even looking at the results, who on the team has the Working Genius of tenacity, because the second I send the tests out, it immediately gets done. Like it immediately gets crossed off the list because they derive energy and joy from that. And then I see the me's of the world, the people with tenacity is a frustration, because they get it done on time. Because look, just because tenacity is a frustration doesn't mean we have an excuse to not get our work done. It's got to get done. But it gets in when it needs to get in, right? It's due Wednesday at noon. It comes in at Wednesday at 10, right? It gets done. So knowing that I feel a great sense of purpose from being productive, but also just that laundry list of things paralyzes me. It means I have had to get real strategic in my life about practically every day how I make sure that I know what my priorities are and how I make sure I know how I'm going to get them done. So in 2024, I have really focused on 4 different things. And friends, it's been great. I have grown. You can too. So let me share them with you. The first has to do with how I set my priorities. So I'm not joking. This is how I set them. The first thing I think of is what absolutely has to happen today that nobody else can do. And those are the things that have to get done. So schooling my kids has to get done today. And I'm the person who's doing it. No one else is going to show up and do it. So that has to be a priority. Now, the laundry, does it have to get done today? Well, it depends on if we still have clean underwear in our drawers. So let's say we don't. It has to get done today. Do I have to do that? Not necessarily. My 8-year-old is very capable. My husband is very capable. They're both willing to help. So does that have to be my priority today? Maybe not. And so what this really helps you decide is not only what your priorities are, but it helps you see that you don't have to do it all. Like you can delegate. The things that don't have to get done today can get pushed to another day. It's okay. And the things that can be done by other people that still have to get done today, you can delegate. So that is how I set my priorities day to day. And I'm not saying it's easy, because there are things that I certainly want to do my way, but I have to evaluate, can someone else do it? Like, is that okay? Then I have to delegate it. And would I really like to get this thing done today? Would I like to sit and invent this thing, come up with this idea for a new course or a new Instagram post? Sure, like I would love to do that. But if that's not what has to get done today, then I can't focus on it. It has to get pushed to another day. Okay, so the first was how I set my priorities. Now, the second little trick I have is how you maintain your priorities. And this is hard, and some of you are going to call me crazy. I accept that. It is do not check your email for the first hour, 2 hours. And if I can really push you, do not check your email till lunch. And I know, guys, I know. Okay. This is really, really hard. But this is why when you open your email first thing, like before you have set your own priorities, your day is gone because your email, I know it, is full of other people telling you that their priorities are now your priorities. Their high stakes are your high stakes. And once you're in it and you see 10, 15, I don't know how many emails of people demanding your time and attention, you think, oh no, like this is what I need to do. And you start working at it, and then everything you needed to do that day is done, right? It's gone. Like it's not happening. So how you maintain the priorities that you set is by just delaying. So make it an hour, right? Try to make it an hour. If you can make it two, that's great. If you can make it till lunch, that's awesome. And if there is somebody who sent you an email and it is an emergency and they needed a response from you before that hour or two, then they need to pick up the phone. Like they need to call you. They need to text you. They need to alert you that this has to be on your radar. And honestly, by setting this kind of standard for yourself, it is telling other people, like, I will get to your need, but maybe you can take care of it yourself. Like maybe you don't need me, right? It's equipping your people and equipping other people to not need you for everything. Okay, so you set your priorities, you maintain your priorities. So how do you make sure that all the other stuff doesn't pile up while you're focused on your priorities? And this is how I do it. It's called the 2-minute rule. And that is if something can get done in 2 minutes or less, do it right away. So let's say you waited 2 hours to check your email. Woohoo! You open your email. If any of those individual emails can be responded to, tackled, all of that in 2 minutes, like let's just say each one, like give each one 2 minutes, then do it. Like do all your 2-minute things and get it done. And that way that's not piling up. The ones that you're looking at, you're like, oh, that's a conversation that's going to take an hour. Then that has to get kind of built in to your priorities within the day. Okay. So maybe you say, okay, that's going to be, can I schedule that for tomorrow? But maybe even scheduling it can just take 2 minutes, right? So those priorities, you don't have to fix all the things, but if it can happen in 2 minutes or less, this could be honestly as simple as taking out the trash. Like you walk by and you're like, oh, the trash needs to get taken out. I'll do that because that takes 2 minutes or less. And so by the end of the day, it's not all piled up. It could be as simple as you are at work and you have a pile of paperwork on your desk and you think, I can take 2 minutes and just kind of organize this real quick, right? So 2 minutes or less. If it can take you 2 minutes or less, do it right then. If not, then you have to schedule it within your priorities, honoring what you've already said you're going to do for the day. And the fourth thing I've learned is how to account for time in a way that doesn't shortchange those priorities. So I am an optimist. So what I'm going to say is counter to my character. And that is you have to be a pessimist about your time. Oh, that hurts. So I'm totally guilty of this. I'll tell my husband, okay, it's going to take us 15 minutes to do this thing. And he's like, it's not going to take you 15 minutes. Yes, it will take us 15 minutes. Trust me, I can get it all done in 15 minutes. And then sure enough, it took longer than that because I am just not giving my priorities the space and time they need. I'm shortchanging them by being optimistic about how much time it takes to do things. And so because of that, I typically show up right on time. I get things done right on time. Sometimes it's late. And I don't like that, right? I don't like that. I don't want to be that person. So how can I make it so that I can ensure not only am I on time, my things are done on time, I show up on time, I'm a reliable person in all the ways, but what if it was early? And that is I cannot shortchange the time that is needed. I have to be pessimistic about the time and give it more space. Okay, ready for a flash review? You set your own priorities by saying, what has to get done today that only I can do? You maintain your own priorities by not letting other people demand that their priorities are yours. So you delay that checking of the email. Number 3, you stick to your priorities without stressing about the other things piling up with the 2-minute rule. Can this thing get done in 2 minutes or less? If so, just do it and get it done. And lastly, don't shortchange your priorities. Be a pessimist about how long things take. Give yourself more time. Okay, so that's it. Those are 4 ways that I have tried, that I have worked to become more productive, to become better with my priorities, to handle my tenacity frustration well. So I would love to know the ways you've done it. Like, how are you productive? Please, share with us. We all need to know ways in which we can improve on productivity and efficiency in our day to day. So please go ahead. Drop a comment on YouTube. In those comments, let us know. Send me an email, Kara@heykaralist.com. I would love to hear your tips. I would love to have a podcast episode where I share all of your tips, or maybe even interview on what's worked for you, because we can all continue to learn from each other. It's been a great year for me. I can't wait to see what next year has. All the lessons I have to learn, hopefully a lot of productivity. So thank you, friends, for being here today. I hope this was helpful for you. And as always, I'm cheering you on. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.